First Contact's Price. The crystalline spires of the Zethari command ship pierced the void like frozen lightning, its surface reflecting the distant light of Proxima Centauri. Admiral Vexthor stood on the bridge, his iridescent scales shimming with anticipation as he watched the human research station grow larger on the main viewport. Primitive technology, he mused, mandibles clicking in amusement. These humans haven't even mastered quantum folding. This will be simple. Lieutenant Silare, her feathered crest rising in concern, approached the command podium. Admiral, our intelligence suggests we should exercise caution. The humans have shown remarkable adaptability in their short spacefaring history. Vexthor dismissed her concerns with a wave of his secondary appendage. They are children playing among stars, Silare. The Council has authorized us to collect their quantum research data. Their primitive defenses won't even register our approach. He couldn't have been more wrong. The Human Research Station, designation Deep Space Research Facility Theta, looked deceptively vulnerable. Its rotating habitation rings and extending solar arrays presented an image of early space-age technology. But appearances, as humanity had learned long ago, could be deceiving. Dr. Rajesh Patel was reviewing quantum entanglement data when the first alerts triggered. The station's advanced sensors, carefully disguised as primitive detection arrays, had picked up the Zethari warship's approach long before it dropped out of quantum space. All personnel to emergency stations, Rajesh announced calmly over the intercom. Initiating Protocol Omega. This is not a drill. The station's seemingly fragile exterior began to change. Panels that appeared to be simple solar arrays rotated, revealing experimental weapon systems. The habitation rings locked into combat configuration, and hidden energy shields shimmed into existence. Admiral Vexthor's first indication that something was wrong came when his ship's quantum field suddenly destabilized. Impossible, he hissed, watching as the human station transformed before his eyes. Their technology level. Sir, Silare called out, her voice tight with alarm, they're using some form of quantum disruption field. It's nothing like our record suggested they should have. The human station's response was devastating. Beams of concentrated energy, leveraging principles of quantum entanglement that the Zethari thought impossible for humans to understand, lanced out through space. The first shot bypassed the warship's shields completely, the quantum-entangled particles ignoring conventional defense systems. Rajesh watched the battle unfold from the station's command center, his expression grim but determined. Send the signal to Earth Command, he ordered. The Zethari have made their choice. Log everything, their attack patterns, their technology, their vulnerabilities. We've been preparing for this moment for years. The Zethari warship, its systems crippled by the unexpected resistance, attempted to retreat. But the humans had other plans. Secondary weapons arrays activated, launching swarms of tiny drones that attached themselves to the ship's hull, gathering data even as they interfered with its quantum drive. Admiral, Silare reported, her feathers now fully erect in distress, they're not just defending, they're studying us. Every weapon they're using seems designed to collect data while causing damage. Vexthor, his earlier arrogance shattered, realized too late the magnitude of their mistake. The humans hadn't been ignorant of advanced technology, they had been hiding their true capabilities, waiting for someone to make exactly this kind of attempt. As his ship limped away from the human station, quantum drive barely functional, Vexthor received one final transmission. Dr. Rajesh Patel's voice came through clear and cold. To the Zethari Empire and all who would threaten humanity, you should have heeded the Council's more cautious members. We have been watching, learning, and preparing. You chose to see what you expected to see, a primitive species ripe for exploitation. Instead, you've awakened something far more dangerous, human ingenuity combined with righteous anger. This was your only warning. The message ended, but its implications would echo across the galaxy. As Vexthor's damaged ship struggled to return to Zethari space, the the first waves of a human response were already being set in motion. Earth's carefully maintained facade of technological limitation had served its purpose. It had drawn out the first aggressor, the first test of humanity's true capabilities. In the station's aftermath, Rajesh sent his final report to Earth Command. First contact scenario Delta confirmed. Enemy technology assessed. Defensive capabilities validated. Requesting implementation of the Prometheus Protocol. The response came back almost immediately. Prometheus Protocol authorized. The hunt begins. The hunt begins. Fleet Admiral Olivia Santos stood before the holographic display in Earth's Strategic Command Center, her weathered features illuminated by the swirling galaxy map. Red markers indicated confirmed Zethari positions across nearby sectors, while blue points highlighted human forces moving into position. The Zethari believe they've seen our full capabilities, she addressed the assembled commanders. They think the research station was our best defense. They have no idea we've been preparing for this moment for decades. Captain James Harrison, commander of the stealth carrier Nightshade, gestured toward a cluster of enemy positions. Their quantum communication networks are still active. They haven't even bothered to change their encryption protocols. Of course not, Dr. Rajesh Patel's hologram added from the rebuilt Theta station. Their entire society is built on the assumption of technological supremacy. They literally cannot conceive of us being able to crack their quantum codes. Olivia allowed herself a small smile. Then let's show them exactly how wrong they are. Operation Ghostwalker begins in 6 hours. All ships, prepare for synchronized quantum jumps. The human fleet had changed dramatically in the weeks following the Zethari attack. Ships that had once disguised themselves as primitive vessels now revealed their true nature. The Nightshade, flagship of humanity's stealth fleet, was a marvel of engineering that would have sent the Galactic Council into panic had they known of its existence. All strike teams report ready, Lieutenant Commander Nasreen Parvati announced from her tactical station. Her fingers danced across holographic controls as she coordinated the fleet's weapon systems. Quantum disruption fields are calibrated based on the data from Theta Station. James Harrison's voice crackled over the comm, Nightshade actual to Fleet Command. Ghost Protocol engaged. We're running silent. Across human space, similar scenes played out as humanity's hidden forces emerged from their camouflage. Ships that had masqueraded as cargo vessels, mining platforms, and research stations transformed into weapons of war. But these weren't simple warships, each vessel was equipped with advanced data collection systems, designed to learn and adapt from every encounter. The Zethari never saw the first strike coming. Admiral Vexthor, still nursing his wounded pride from the research station incident, was in the middle of a report to the High Command when his quantum communications suddenly failed. Moments later, his flagship's sensors detected multiple quantum space ruptures. Impossible, he breathed, watching as human vessels materialized throughout his defense grid. Their ships moved with impossible precision, their weapons targeting exactly the right vulnerabilities that his earlier attack had revealed. Lieutenant Silare, who had survived their previous encounter, felt her feathers droop in resignation. They weren't just defending themselves at the research station, she realized. They were studying us. Learning how we fight. The human attack was surgical and devastating. The Nightshade and its sister ships struck simultaneously across 12 Zethari systems. They didn't just destroy military targets, they captured them, each vessel systematically collecting more data on Zethari technology and tactics. From her command center, Olivia watched the operation unfold with cold satisfaction. Send the message, she ordered. All frequencies, all languages. Throughout Zethari space, their communication systems were overridden by a single broadcast, to the Zethari Empire, you thought us primitive. You thought us weak. Instead, you've given us the excuse we've been waiting for. Your technology is now ours. Your tactics are now known. Your assumptions about human limitations are your greatest weakness. We are not done learning. The message was followed by detailed schematics of Zethari quantum drive technology, proof that humans had already reverse-engineered and improved upon their most closely guarded secrets. Second wave, begin your approach, Olivia commanded. Remember, we're not just fighting, we're gathering intelligence for the battles to come. As human ships systematically dismantled the Zethari defense network, Dr. Rajesh Patel continued his analysis from Theta Station. Each engagement provided new data, new insights into alien technology that humanity could adapt and improve upon. Their fundamental mistake, he noted in his reports, was assuming that our visible technology represented our true capabilities. They never asked why a species that had mastered quantum entanglement was still using chemical rockets in plain sight. The first phase of Operation Ghostwalker lasted just 6 hours. When it was over, the Zethari had lost a third of their military infrastructure. But more importantly, they had lost their sense of superiority. The hunters had become the hunted, and humanity was just getting started. Ripples across the stars. The Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council hummed with nervous energy as representatives from 100 species argued over the latest reports. The massive quantum crystal dome above them reflected the agitation below, its colors shifting from deep purple to anxious red. Ambassador Thexel of the Meridian Concordat, his crystalline form pulsing with concern, addressed the assembly. The humans aren't just fighting the Zethari anymore. They're systematically exposing every piece of technology we've denied to lesser species. Do you understand what this means? High Counselor Ixil, her energy form flickering with irritation, attempted to dismiss his concerns. The humans are merely lashing out. Once they've exhausted themselves. Exhausted themselves? A new voice cut through the chamber. Ambassador Lyra Novak of Earth strode into the center of the chamber, her plain diplomatic uniform a stark contrast to the ornate robes of the other representatives. Let me show you something interesting. The chamber's holographic display came to life, showing footage from the latest human offensive. The assembled representatives watched in stunned silence as human ships systematically disabled a Zethari battle fleet, capturing rather than destroying most vessels. We're not exhausting ourselves, Lyra continued, her voice carrying clear authority. We're learning. Every ship we capture, every database we crack, reveals more about how the Council has maintained its power. Tell me, how many species here have been denied quantum fold technology because they were deemed not ready? Murmurs rippled through the chamber as dozens of representatives shifted uncomfortably. The Artaxian delegate, their collective consciousness manifesting as a shimmering cloud, moved forward. The humans speak truth, they pulsed. Our scientists discovered quantum principles centuries ago, yet we were told we needed another millennium of development before we could be trusted with practical applications. In her private chamber, Fleet Admiral Olivia Santos watched the Council proceedings through a secure quantum feed. Status report on Operation Enlightenment, she commanded. Lieutenant Commander Nasreen appeared on a secondary display. Data packets have been transmitted to 73 species that the Council deemed primitive. The Artaxians have already replicated our quantum drive modifications. The Meridian Concordat is openly sharing their archives with lesser species. And the Zethari response? They've fallen back to their core systems, Nasreen reported. But more importantly, their subject species are beginning to question their authority. 3 mining colonies have declared independence in the last solar day. Back in the Council chamber, the atmosphere had grown increasingly tense. High Counselor Ixil's energy form had condensed to a tight, angry point of light. You're disrupting the natural order. There are reasons we control the spread of technology. Yes, Lyra agreed, her smile sharp. Power. Control. Profit. We've decoded enough of your private communications to understand exactly how the Council maintains its position. Would anyone here like to see the profit-sharing agreements between the High Council and the corporations that monopolize quantum drive production? The chamber erupted into chaos. Ambassador Thexel's crystalline form resonated with what might have been laughter. You never considered this possibility, did you? When you dismissed humans as primitives, you never imagined they would turn your own secrets against you. Dr. Rajesh Patel, coordinating from the expanded Theta Station, reviewed the latest intelligence reports with satisfaction. The quantum encryption codes they'd extracted from captured Zethari ships had unlocked access to the Council's most secure databases. Every hour brought new revelations about centuries of technological suppression and manipulation. The Zethari were just the beginning, he noted in his report to Earth Command. Their attack gave us the justification we needed to expose the Council's entire system of control. The real revolution isn't being fought with ships and weapons, it's being fought with information. Ambassador Lyra continued her address to the increasingly fractured Council. We're offering a choice. The old system of technological aristocracy ends now. Any species that wants access to advanced technology will get it, along with our help in implementing it safely. Those who cling to the old order. She let the statement hang. You would unleash chaos. Ixil flared. Centuries of careful management. Careful oppression, Lyra corrected. And yes, we would end it. Humanity remembers its own history. We remember how technological disparities were used to justify exploitation. We won't allow it on a galactic scale. The Artaxian collective pulsed with approval. The humans offer what we have long desired, the freedom to grow at our own pace, to develop without artificial constraints. As the Council descended into heated debate, Olivia received another update from the front lines. The Zethari were sending diplomatic signals through back channels, finally ready to discuss surrender terms. But that was no longer enough. The Zethari started this by attacking a single research station, she told her command staff. They gave us the opening we needed to challenge not just their empire, but the entire corrupt system that enabled them. And we're not stopping until every species in this galaxy has the chance to reach their full potential. The revolution had begun, and it was spreading faster than anyone could have predicted. The age of carefully managed technological superiority was ending, replaced by something far more dangerous to the old order, equality of opportunity. Breaking point. The Zethari home system blazed with weapons fire as the final battle for the galaxy's future unfolded. High Command's supposedly impregnable quantum defense grid sparked and failed as human ships, now joined by vessels from 24 primitive species, systematically dismantled the old order's last stronghold. Status report: Fleet Admiral Olivia Santos commanded from the bridge of the newly commissioned dreadnought Prometheus. The ship represented humanity's full technological capability, no longer hidden behind a mask of primitive design. Zethari quantum shields are failing, Lieutenant Commander Nasreen reported, her hands dancing across holographic controls. The Artaxian fleet has broken through their eastern perimeter using the modified quantum drives we provided. The Meridian forces are advancing from the north. Captain James Harrison's voice crackled through the quantum comm, Nightshade Actual to Prometheus. We've secured the main data archives. You're not going to believe what we've found. In the council chamber, now half empty as former members chose sides in the growing conflict, High Counselor Ixil's energy form pulsed with desperate rage. Emergency Protocol Omega. Release the forbidden technologies. Ambassador Lyra Novak watched calmly as panic spread through the remaining council loyalists. You still don't understand, do you? We've already accessed your secret archives. We know about the quantum plague weapons, the consciousness transfer technology, everything you've hidden for millennia. Impossible. Ixil flared. Those archives are protected by quantum encryption that you believed unbreakable, Dr. Rajesh Patel's hologram interrupted, appearing in the chamber. Did it never occur to you to ask why humans focused so heavily on quantum research? We weren't trying to catch up to your technology. We were learning how to break it. In orbit around the Zethari homeworld, Admiral Vexthor watched in disbelief as his supposedly invincible defense fleet was systematically disabled. Not destroyed, disabled. The humans and their allies were capturing ships intact, adding to their growing arsenal of proof against the Council's regime. Admiral, Lieutenant Silare reported, her feathers completely flat with resignation, were detecting quantum signals from dozens of our colony worlds. They're renouncing their allegiance to the Empire. The Artaxians have offered them full technological partnership. Vexthor slumped in his command chair. We should have listened to your warnings about the humans from the beginning, Silare. We saw their adaptability as a sign of weakness, their willingness to learn as proof of inferiority. Instead, a new voice cut in, you taught us exactly how to bring down an empire. Captain Harrison's hologram appeared on their bridge. Your quantum grid is down. Your archives are ours. Surrender, and you can be part of what comes next. Back on the Prometheus, Olivia received the latest reports from across the galaxy. The Council's carefully maintained hierarchy was collapsing faster than anyone had predicted. Species that had been deliberately kept apart were now sharing technologies, combining their unique perspectives to create innovations that even humanity hadn't imagined. Message from the Artaxian Collective, Nasreen announced. Their scientists have combined our quantum drive modifications with their natural quantum sensitivity. They've achieved stable microjumps. The technology is already being shared with their allies. Dr. Patel's analysis flowed in from Theta Station. The pace of innovation is exponential. When you remove artificial barriers to progress, when you let species collaborate freely, we're seeing advances that should have taken centuries happening in days. In the council chamber, Ambassador Lyra faced the remaining loyalists. This is your final chance. Surrender your positions. Release all restricted technologies. Join us in building something new, or be remembered as the last defenders of a dying age of oppression. High Counselor Ixel's form flickered uncertainly. You speak of sharing technology freely, but some species aren't ready for such power. The chaos. We're not giving anyone technology they can't handle, Lyra corrected. We're giving them the chance to develop at their own pace, without artificial restrictions. The chaos you fear is just the sound of progress breaking free from control. The quantum communications network, once tightly controlled by the Council, now carried messages of revolution and cooperation across the galaxy. Species that had been deemed too primitive to join galactic society were suddenly contributing unique insights and innovations. The Artaxians' natural quantum sensitivity combined with human engineering principles. The Meridian Concordat's crystalline computing merged with released Council technologies. On the Prometheus's bridge, Olivia watched as the last Zethari defensive line crumbled. Send the final broadcast, she ordered. All frequencies, all languages, all species. Throughout the galaxy, beings of all forms and types received humanity's message: the age of enforced ignorance is over. Knowledge is no longer a privilege to be granted by self-appointed guardians, but a right to be earned through effort and shared through cooperation. The future belongs to all of us. The breaking point had been reached. The old order, built on carefully maintained technological disparities, couldn't survive contact with a species that refused to accept artificial limitations. Humanity had turned the galaxy's assumptions about progress and readiness upside down, proving that the best defense against the misuse of technology wasn't restriction, but education and cooperation. New Dawn. 5 years after the fall of the Galactic Council, the same chamber that once housed their hierarchical authority now served a different purpose. The Galactic Cooperative Assembly, as it was now known, hummed with the energy of true collaboration. Representatives from hundreds of species, many of whom had been classified as primitive under the old regime, gathered to share discoveries and coordinate technological development. Dr. Rajesh Patel, now serving as Earth's chief science liaison, stood before the assembly, his hologram projected from the expanded Theta Research Network. "The latest data from our combined research initiatives has exceeded all expectations," he announced. "The Artaxian human quantum navigation protocols have reduced interstellar travel time by 60%. The Meridian crystalline computing arrays, combined with released Council technology, have opened new frontiers in artificial intelligence." Ambassador Lyra Novak, watching from her position among the Earth delegation, couldn't help but smile at the transformation. Where once there had been carefully managed technological suppression, now there was an explosion of innovation. Species that had been deliberately kept isolated were combining their unique perspectives to solve problems that had stumped the old Council for millennia. Report from the Zethari Integration Committee, Lieutenant Commander Nasreen announced, her role having evolved from military tactical officer to coordination specialist. Their shipyards, now operating under the open technology protocols, have successfully adapted the new quantum drive designs. Former Admiral Vexthor has been particularly helpful in identifying old Council technological stockpiles. The mentioned Zethari, his scales now bearing the blue markings of the cooperative, stood before the assembly. "We were wrong," he admitted, Lieutenant Silare at his side. "We thought power came from hoarding knowledge, from maintaining technological superiority. The humans showed us a better way, strength through sharing, through combining different perspectives." In orbit above Earth, the Prometheus had been transformed from a warship into a mobile research and diplomatic platform. Fleet Admiral Olivia Santos, reviewing progress reports in what had once been the Combat Command Center, reflected on how far they'd come. Another request for technological exchange, Captain James Harrison reported, the Nightshade now serving as a rapid response vessel for humanitarian and scientific missions. The Cephians have developed an interesting application of quantum theory to underwater habitats. They're asking for human engineering expertise to help scale it up. "Approved," Olivia nodded. "And make sure the Artaxians get a copy of the research. Their quantum sensitivity might offer unique insights." The transformation hadn't been without challenges. Some species, long accustomed to technological supremacy, had initially resisted the new order. But the combined strength of humanity's determination and the newly empowered former, primitive, species had proved unstoppable. The old Council's greatest mistake, Ambassador Thexol observed during a session break, his crystalline form glowing with amusement, was assuming that technological advancement had to be linear, controlled, predictable. "You humans showed us that true progress comes from unexpected combinations, from letting different species approach problems in their own unique ways." The Artaxian collective, their quantum-sensitive consciousness now freely exchanging insights with other species, pulsed in agreement. "We had capabilities we never fully understood because we were told to wait, to develop along prescribed paths. Now, combining our natural abilities with shared technology, we're discovering possibilities the Council never imagined." Dr. Patel's research network had documented thousands of such breakthroughs. Species that had been dismissed as primitive were contributing revolutionary insights into quantum mechanics, spatial engineering, and consciousness transfer. The pace of innovation, far from leading to the chaos the Council had feared, had created a renaissance of collaborative development. The humans' greatest contribution, former High Counselor Ixil admitted, her energy form and now just one voice among many, wasn't their technology. It was their refusal to accept artificial limitations, their insistence that every species deserved the chance to reach their full potential. Ambassador Lyra stood to address the assembly one final time before Earth's rotation as lead coordinator ended. 5 years ago, a single act of aggression gave humanity the excuse we needed to challenge a system we knew was wrong. The Zethari thought they were attacking a primitive research station. Instead, they sparked a revolution that freed the galaxy from millennia of enforced technological stagnation. She gestured to the assembled representatives, each a testament to what was possible when artificial barriers were removed. "We didn't just want revenge for an attack. We wanted to build something better. And look at what we've achieved together, not through control, not through suppression, but through trust and cooperation. As the assembly chamber filled with messages of agreement in 100 different forms, light pulses, quantum signals, crystalline resonances, and more, humanity's true victory became clear. They hadn't just won a war or overthrown an empire. They had fundamentally changed how an entire galaxy thought about progress, power, and potential. The stars themselves seemed brighter now, filled with the combined light of civilizations finally free to shine at their full brilliance. And it all started because someone made the mistake of assuming humans would accept limitations imposed by others, a mistake the galaxy would never make again.